course, we begin with the storm intensifying in Washington. President Trump's former personal attorney is flipping on the president, and the president is letting people know how he feels about it on Twitter. The president tweeted, quote, "If anyone's looking for a good lawyer, I would strongly suggest that they don't retain the services of Michael Cohen." I don't think he's available, though. He also added later that Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to 2 counts of campaign finance violations that are not a crime. President Obama had a big campaign finance violation, and it was easily settled. So let's back up a little bit here. Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 felony charges yesterday as part of a plea deal. Cohen says then-candidate Trump directed him to make illegal payments to 2 women, adult film star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal. Well, Cohen also admitted to bank fraud and tax evasion in a New York City courtroom. In a wide-ranging interview earlier this morning, I asked Michael Cohen's attorney about the evidence Cohen has to incriminate the president. And here's what Lanny Davis told me. In a wide-ranging interview earlier this morning, I asked Michael Cohen's attorney if there are more recordings Cohen made that could incriminate the president. Here's what Lanny Davis told me.
Well, we're talking about his assertion under oath in federal court that he was directed in coordination and direction of the President of the United States to do something illegal, to make hush money payments to Stormy Daniels and Miss McDougal by arrangement with a third party. That is under oath testimony by Mr. Cohen, corroborated by Mr. Trump's lawyers who wrote the special counsel and have acknowledged that Mr. Trump reimbursed and owed Mr. Cohen for the amount of money advanced to Ms. Daniels at Mr. Cohen's, in his own words under oath, at the direction of President Trump, meaning he's equally as guilty of a serious federal crime, corrupting American democracy. That's what the crime is, by making this hush money payment right before the election.
So sort of part of your argument is that the president's own attorneys are sort of the ones providing proof, but you know that your client may have a credibility issue. So keeping that in mind, is there anything other than that? Are there recordings out there that we might want to know about?
Well, I don't know, but I honestly am confused. If my own lawyer is testifying against me, that's what's called definitive proof. Rudy Giuliani acknowledged that Donald Trump lied on Air Force One when he denied any knowledge of this, and then he went on to say it's no crime to lie to the media and the American people. And then in the correspondence that his legal team sent to Mr. Mueller, there is at least an acknowledgement that the direction came from Mr. Trump for Mr. Cohen to do this with his knowledge, and as Mr. Cohen said, under oath, something Donald Trump's not willing to do, under oath said he was directed in coordination with the president. And after all, this is about hush money. The president didn't sign the check. He didn't want people to know about it, so he asked Mr. Cohen to do the deal. He directed him according to Mr. Cohen's sworn testimony.
So, Lanny, we know that your client has a lot of reasons to tell the prosecution what they need to hear. He's facing a number of years behind bars, and he's admitting right here that, yeah, he did some shady things. He did some things that were illegal. So why should the public believe him?
Don't believe him. I'm talking about his lawyers, Mr. Giuliani, publicly. He has a lawyer named Giuliani contradicting what Trump said on Air Force One, calling his own client a liar, and then saying, but there's nothing wrong with lying to the media. So don't believe don't believe me, don't believe Mr. Cohen. Mr. Cohen's asking for financial help because he wants to tell the truth, and it's not about credibility, it's about the truth that even Mr. Trump's lawyer, Mr. Giuliani, has contradicted his own client, in effect calling him a liar. We have a website called michaelcohentruth.com, michaelcohentruthfund.com. We're asking for help for Mr. Cohen and his family to allow him to tell the truth about Donald Trump.
All right. So you also say that Mr. Cohen has knowledge as to what the president knew about Russia's sort of meddling and interfering in the 2016 election. What specifically does your client know?
So each time I've been asked this question, I was very careful in the way I responded. I can't reveal what Mr. Cohen is going to testify to when asked. That would be breaking attorney-client privilege, which Mr. Giuliani didn't mind doing. He waived it, and his own testimony could now be relevant because he waived his privilege by saying what Donald Trump told him. So I have to be careful, but I did say, and let me repeat carefully, that it's my observation that there is information regarding the hacking or the criminal act of invading a computer that Mr. Cohen would be able to speak about, which would be of interest, in my opinion, to Mr. Mueller. That's about all I can say.
Has he already spoken to the special counsel?
I just can't answer that question. Sorry.
All right. So the Trump Organization paid back Michael Cohen $420,000. That's according to the court documents. That's 3 times the amount that was paid to Stormy Daniels. So what was the rest of the money for?
Yes, this is an easy question to answer, but a little bit complicated to explain. When you're spending money after you've paid income taxes, this was $130,000. In order to be reimbursed, you have to be paid the gross amount that you would have and then pay taxes to get to $130,000. So in this case, let's just be rounding up 50% tax bracket. So to pay back the $130,000, you'd be paid $260,000 on which you would pay taxes. So it's called grossing up, and the rest of the money above the $260,000 would be for services rendered or being available on a legal retainer.
So, you know, a lot of people are still going to question your client's sort of about face, from fiercely loyal to the president to now where he is at now. He's giving up a lot of information. Do you know if his sentencing will be determined by the amount of information he's willing to reveal, whether to the Southern District or to the Special Prosecutor's investigation?
The answer is no. As far as I know, I started talking to Michael Cohen way before there was an issue of his pleading guilty to anything. And I asked him very carefully, what has changed your mind from the man who said, I will take a bullet for Donald Trump, did a lot of things that he's not proud of for Donald Trump? What caused this change? And his answer to me, and I hope he'll have a chance to speak publicly, is over a period of time, he became increasingly worried that this man with such reckless judgment was now the President of the United States. After Helsinki, he stood next to Vladimir Putin, who interfered and corrupted our democratic elections and would not state that fact that his entire intelligence community believed, including his own appointee, Dan Coats, the head of national intelligence. So that Helsinki, what really was a scary moment of a president siding with Vladimir Putin over his own intelligence community, as well as many other reckless activities as president, has caused Michael Cohen to evolve and come to the conclusion that he wants to tell the truth. And I'm going to plug it one more time. He needs help. And the website we just set up is Michael Cohen Truth Fund. We ask anyone who wants to help Michael Fund to tell the truth to go to that website, please.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not cheap to defend yourself when you're facing these sort of accusations. But I got to sort of push back a little. You know, here's your client admitting that he was willing to pay hush money on behalf of at least the candidate at that time to cover up an alleged affair with an adult film star. He didn't question his judgment at that point?
Well, he would question his own judgment. He has said many times to me, I wish there were redos in life, and that's why he has made a turn, hit the reset button, to use his words, and he wants to now tell the truth. That's why this website is so important. He and his family are facing great economic distress, and he needs help. But what we're now hearing Michael Cohen saying, what you will hear him say, I hope himself, is that he's a different person now, that he recognizes the danger of having a man that sides with Vladimir Putin over his own intelligence community and is now taking away the classified qualifications of patriots who've served our country, not for any reason of insecurity, but for political vendetta reasons. This is one of the many reasons that Michael Cohen has evolved and is now willing to speak truth to power.
So if it is about the truth, would he be willing to testify without an immunity agreement?
I can't say that one way or another as his attorney, but I will tell you what he said to me without qualification. He is committed to telling the truth. No deals, no pardons. He wants to tell the truth, and that's why we've set up a website that has the word truth in it, Michael Cohen Truth Fund. The word truth is what Michael is now committed to.
All right, we hear you loud and clear. Lanny Davis, thank you very much.
Thank you.